Hey everybody, welcome back to Behind the Build with Scott and Deven. I'm Scott.
And I'm Deven.
Today's episode is going to be about your journey as a customer from start to finish. We're going to tell you everything from the moment you visit our website until the day you walk into your new home with your key in your hand.
We hope that it enlightens you and that you enjoy kind of hearing us knuckleheads talk about what we got going on as far as how you can go ahead and purchase a home with Mitchell.
We've talked about it in previous episodes. The whole reason for this podcast is to really communicate better and to let people know, what's going to happen, and to really be transparent in everything that we do, so that we don't miss anything. And we're still going to miss stuff, but
Right.
This one is really important. I think.
Yeah.
I've been a little bit nervous about this one.
This one's a little different. We've made the pledge that we're not preparing for these because we want them to be really authentic. And this one's got so much detail in it that, it's made us both a little nervous. Not that we don't know the process, but that we articulate it well to each and every one of you. And as always, like Scott alluded to, if we miss things, there'll be time for a Q&A, write things down, things that you still have questions that we may not answer or touch on. We're gonna have probably episode 5 or 6 will be a Q&A roundup. Mm-hmm. And we'll watch back the podcasts that we have and try to correct anything that we may have tripped on as well.
Yeah, we have been getting feedback. We appreciate your feedback.
Absolutely.
We've gotten some great feedback. We've gotten some questions.
Right.
So we're keeping track of all that stuff. So whether you're watching us on YouTube or Spotify, you guys can leave comments there, or you can reach out to us directly. You can send us a message from our website or one of our socials. Or you can send us an email too. So definitely let us know, because everybody's journey is different.
100%.
And we're going to go through what we consider to be a typical journey. We'll try to talk about some of the things that things can kind of veer off path, and it may be a little bit different for everybody. But the point here is to kind of go through what a typical journey would be.
That's right.
From start to finish, like we talked about. So you want to jump right into it?
Well, yeah. And the other thing is we've got a set change. We've got a couple new chairs here today, so hopefully we're not as annoying by swiveling back and forth like we were in the previous episode. So we're trying to take that feedback as well. But so what happens? Customers got some land or doesn't have land. They want to build a house with Mitchell. Where do they go?
Well, I think, the majority of people go to our website.
That's right.
So our website, mitchellhomesinc.com. So, that's where it all begins, really. And, you're going to go to our website. You're going to check out our floor plans, get a little bit of information about our Simply Mitchell financing. That's right. You can learn about our team. We're in the process of making some updates to the website where you're actually going to be able to go on and configure both the interior and the exterior of the home with optional layouts, colors, things like that. So we're excited.
You build your house online, basically, as far as a concept.
Yes.
So you'll be able to go on there and really look through colors and lighting selections and some plumbing selections. And it's going to be, it's going to help really make the process a little easier for you at home as you watch and as you navigate this difficult process. We're trying to really create ideas that make it a little easier.
Yes.
So you visit our website, you get excited about what we have to offer, or Simply Mitchell being the most exciting thing, and then the quality and all the things that we put into it. Mm-hmm. They'll see a tab for an online sales consultant.
Right.
What is that?
Yeah, so the online sales consultant is going to be your first point of contact. So when somebody first reaches out to us, that's who you're going to talk to. It's going to be either on the phone, it may be over email, it may be maybe texting at first. Really, it kind of is up to you. If you submit an info request form on our website, you're going to give us some basic information, and they're going to reach out to you. And they're quick. Sometimes they'll reach out to you within a couple minutes. That's always the goal. So they'll reach out to you. They'll really answer, whatever basic questions you have. They can kind of help guide you towards certain floor plans that may suit your needs, your budget. They're there to answer those questions. But more importantly, they're there to schedule an appointment for you to come in, tour one of our design studios, and meet with a new home consultant to really sit down and go through like the meats and potatoes of everything to get you prepared to sign a contract.
They're going to also, based on where you live currently and where you look to build. They're going to get you in the sales center that's closest, most convenient for you.
Yes.
Sometimes we have folks who will be buying or building a house in North Carolina now, near the Outer Banks, yet they live in the Richmond area. So they'll do all the service out of Richmond. We see that all the time. So, we have offices geographically located so that it makes it as easy as possible for you to visit what's the most convenient for you. And they'll put you in that place. At least they'll talk to you about where you would like to go visit.
Right.
Which is important. I know in the interest of time and everybody's schedules, we try to make it the most convenient we can with the OSC. They're going to be able to answer very cursory questions. They're going to try to garner as much information from you as they can. And what they do, they're going to take really good notes. And all those notes go right to the sales consultant. So they have all that information, so you don't have to regurgitate that. When you do come in for your appointment, it's really seamless. A lot of that information's already there. And then you're rolling right out of the gate.
The more information they can get, the easier it is, so that when you come in, the new home consultant who you meet with is going to take it from there and really kind of get you rolling in the process. At that point, when you come into one of our offices, the first thing they'll probably do is show you around, give you a tour of the design studio. And then really kind of sit down and make sure you know which floor plan best suits you based off of your budget, based off of the lot and, the building envelope, the setbacks on the lot. You're going to make sure that it fits on the lot, like we've talked about in a previous podcast. The goal there is to really get you comfortable. At that point, we kind of skip this, but before you come in for that appointment, it's really important that you complete a pre-approval, like a short form pre-approval application. So we can send that to one of our partner lenders. The lender can run that credit for you, and then we know exactly what you're going to qualify for. So let's say you qualify for $450,000. They're going to know, based off of that pre-approval, which floor plans to steer you towards.
We have 4 or 5 lenders, so it's not like we have just one. We have a lot of different plans out there, which we'll talk about in another podcast when we talk about Simply Mitchell in detail. But there's a lot of options out there. We have a lot of resources at our disposal. So, we can find the package that best suits you. That new home consultant's gonna really try to educate you. They're gonna talk to you about, a deed, getting a deed. And we covered that in, buying your land. They're going to talk to you about house placement. They're going to talk to you about the house that you would like to purchase, whether you need 3 bedrooms, a ranch, or a 2-story. All those things are gone over in that first 1 or 2 appointments.
When you meet with them, this is going to kind of set us through the whole rest of this podcast. Really, we designate when somebody comes in and buys a house. We designate it in 2 different ways. Either it's a reservation or it's a ratified contract. And the goal is obviously to have a ratified contract. But in order for us to consider it a ratified contract, there's a few things we have to have. And so we encourage you to the best of your ability to bring these things with you when you come.
Right.
1 is going to be the deed to the property. 2 is going to be the survey. And 3 is going to be we need to get a loan commitment or just basically a pre-approval letter. So by you sending us that short form pre-approval up front, that kind of knocks that out, and that's so that we can check that off. And at that point, we just need your deed and survey, and then that locks you in, ratifies your contract, and that's really when what we call the 150-day schedule starts.
Right, and I think we should back up, and I think we've mentioned it in other podcasts, but I think for most folks, they're not going to truly understand the difference between a reservation and ratified. That's language that we use, and as you come in and see us, you'll start to hear that, and you'll get more comfortable with it. But what's the difference between reservation and ratified?
With a reservation, we really can't do anything yet because we don't have a deed to the property.
And we need a deed.
We need a deed to know that we're, that you own the land, and that we can build on that land.
Right.
And we need to know that you qualify to build a home too. So we need that pre-approval from the lender. So at that point, we know you own the land, we know you can afford the home. And that really allows us to start working and spending money, because we don't want to spend money until we know that the home can be built and that that we've got a home that's sold that is within the budget.
We finance through the Simply Mitchell package, which you'll learn more about. We finance 100% of the build.
Yes.
So, it's a very small down payment. And so we take on the financial responsibility, and that's what the deed secures. So the deed secures that financial obligation so that we can move forward. After you've ratified, or what we call a ratified date, what that triggers is the 150-day price guarantee that we advertise. And that is something that we want to go through in detail today. In addition to all the things we just covered, that 150-day schedule is important because that guarantees your price through that 150 days.
Right.
The schedule can be kind of daunting maybe. The new home sales consultants will be able to guide you through that along with, not to segue, but a little bit, we're with our sales associates, kind of a new role for us.
Right.
They'll help you as well. So we have a lot of hands in the sales office that are gonna help guide you through that process along with our back office, right?
Yeah, we've talked about this before too. We've got really experienced, good people here that help you through all of that. So the majority of the schedule is handled by us and by our team, but it's really important that we work together with you as a team because there are things that we can't do without you as the customer.
Correct.
There's a lot of things that that you're going to have to come in and do, and we'll get into some of that stuff.
Right.
So we work together as a team, and the goal is always to meet or beat that 150-day schedule, because and this is something that our salespeople don't like to talk about and customers don't want to hear, but we do have a 150-day price guarantee. So let's talk about that a little bit. What that means, right? From the date that the contract is ratified, that's when that starts.
That's right.
And if it's only a reservation, let's say you come in on June the 1st and you sign, but you don't have a deed.
Right.
And our prices go up on July the 1st because we got a bunch of increases in lumber and steel and concrete. So the price goes up, say 2%. If we can't ratify your contract by July the 1st, then your contract will automatically increase to what that price increase is on July the 1st.
Right. Until it's ratified. Yeah, that's correct. So once it's ratified, wherever we are in the pricing, we have a little bit of a window in there. We have a little grace period, not tons.
Yeah.
Not everybody's just carrying around the deed, right? But within a couple days of the execution of the reservation, and you get it ratified, that guarantees that price for that 150 days.
Right.
But to Scott's point, if it goes, a couple months, maybe, and there's a lot of variables that you maybe even have a deed, but there needs to be a boundary survey. There's a lot of stuff that we talked about and how to purchase land.
Right.
That doesn't really allow us to ratify, but we don't want to go too far down the weeds in that.
Yeah.
But there are some things that can happen. So, for most everybody, you have a deed in hand and we can ratify that, but that 150-day price only starts the day it's ratified. So if you're 3 months in waiting for somebody to get you the deed or has to clear title or whatever it is, that price doesn't lock. And, we can only do that because we do finance 100% of the build. And, it's a risk on our part to fund these, and we just can't let that process elongate any more than the 150 days.
The cost that we pay to build your home, we don't lock that in until we send out all the purchase orders when we get ready to dig your footer. So, if you buy a home, like we said, on June the 1st, and we don't start it until December the 30th, the price doesn't actually lock for us until we send that out on December the 30th to our vendors and subs through the purchase order process.
So if there's a price increase in between that 150 days, we own it.
We do. We eat that cost, which is unique to us. Most builders have escalation clauses, so whatever their costs are at the time that they're actually buying the materials, that's what they're going to escalate your contract to. We don't do that. We lock it in for 150 days, but that 150 days is from the ratification date of the contract until the footer's dug.
Right.
So we just have to get everything done that we're going to talk about in the 150-day schedule between ratification and footer being dug, and then the price is locked and there's no price increase.
You've come in, you visited with the new home sales consultant. Let's assume all things are perfect. You have kind of a survey. You know where you want your home to be. You've done some due diligence on your own, and everything goes well. You've picked your model. You've already written the contract. Everything's good there, ratified. The next most important step is to make sure that any alterations, because we do customize our plans quite a bit, it makes us unique. You're gonna wanna get all of that structural, moving walls, changing, making a bathroom go from here to there, or whatever it is.
Right.
You're gonna wanna get that done just as quickly as you can possibly get it done with the new home sales consultant. That is a critical point. You don't wanna drag that process on too long, because that is one of the biggest reasons why folks fail at the 150. They're not really sure what they wanna do, and that, can take 3-4 weeks, and that can kind of bust the schedule.
Yeah,
so we really
absolutely.
encourage everybody to get that stuff done just about as fast as you can.
When you sign the contract, that's when you want to do all of that stuff, or you want to do it as soon as possible after signing the contract. And when you sign a contract with us, we forgot to mention this, it's $150. That's all. There's no down payment. Again, that's unique to us. That's part of our Simply Mitchell. The $150 just covers basically the application fee and the processing fee for us to process the paperwork. So there's no down payment required at that point. You're going to do all of your structural options like Deven talked about.
Right.
And then what happens after that?
So once all that's done, it goes to a quick corporate review. Salespeople will always try to allow your dreams to come true, and we do too. But sometimes there's changes that just aren't going to work. So we look at those to make sure the changes that you're making will actually work with the house. Sometimes, I would say 85% of the time, in fact, that is okay. But there are some times where we need to go back and forth and make some adjustments or make some suggestions. Maybe a roof line isn't working right, or the way you've got the garage added to this isn't going to work right. We try to really look thoroughly through the plans to make sure there's no more time waste going on. So we'll do a quick review. Then after that review, at this point in time, really, you need to get excited about like colors and design stuff. But so this is kind of like an administration time. But we'll review it. We'll make sure that there's nothing left outstanding. The salespeople will give us what we call a ready to draw. That ready to draw is done by pre-construction, which is Deborah. We have a mortgage person that does all that stuff in Janet. And then we also have a drafting team and the salesperson that gives the blessing to go ahead and move that forward to an actual sales plan.
Right, yeah. We call that the sales plan. You'll hear that term. The sales plan is really the initial set of plans that we draw based off of all the changes and customizations that you've made. So that, and Deven and I have both done what we call that new sale review.
Right.
So, it gets reviewed by management,
Right.
which we try not to miss anything at that point. We really want to make sure that, it's as clean as possible before we draw those plans and send them back for you to review.
During that process, that should be, you want to pull up that schedule, Tucker, for me? I think that's, 14 days? When you write a contract with us, this schedule is given to you. So you can follow along with this. And a lot of this stuff isn't going to mean a ton to you. The new home sales consultant will guide you through this and keep you up to date. But this is the timeline of how we get to 150 days. So as we move through, you'll be able to see what's ready to draw, is it ready to draw, what's holding it up from making it ready to draw. The real answer to that is making decisions just about as quickly as you can, and yourself keep that ball rolling. Keep that ball rolling, and then once we get everybody's kind of signed off and agreed, these are the sales plans, it goes to the drafting department, and they get drawn internally.
That's exciting. At
Right.
that point, that's your plan. That's the plan that you've designed. It's got all the changes in it. You get an opportunity at that point. You'll come back in. You'll review that plan with your new home consultant, your new home associate.
Right.
And you'll also at that point you'll get to meet with a design consultant and make your selections and
Right.
all the colors and selections. And I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but
No, it's fine. I think there's a lot to this. So one thing, just I'm going to back us up just a little bit. So when you meet with that new home sales consultant, and let's say you've landed on the Matthews 2 plan, which is one of our plans, one of our more popular ones. Then you've landed on the Matthews 2, and you you love it just as it is. This is perfect. I may want to make some cabinet changes or tile changes, flooring selections, but if you like the footprint, it moves through pretty quick.
Yes.
That 14 days that you see where it says put in drafting queue for sales plan, if there's a lot of changes, that's where it gets really constricted. Now, the timing that you'll have with the new home sales consultant should be enough time to get all those questions answered from them so they get all your ideas down. So I guess what I'm saying by that is the appointment that you'll have could take a couple hours depending on the amount of ideas that you want to bring to the table. It may even require a second visit. So there's a lot kind of up front as far as time that you'll need to spend.
Right.
And I don't want to sugarcoat that too much because sometimes folks meet with a new home sales consultant for 3 hours to get it right in that first few days after ratification, right?
Right.
It's going to be an investment in time from yourselves, and I don't want to just kind of gloss over that. That first 14 to 20 days is very important that you stay connected to the new home sales consultant and really help drive the boat, because that can make or break things.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of time that you're going to spend, depending again on Matthews 2, but you want it 4 foot wider on the left and 4 foot wider on the right. You want a wraparound deck. You want all these things that we'll love to do. That can add time to that 150-day price lock. Now, before we get too far down the road, again, sorry to just ramble, I'm rambling. We do have an option for a price extension, a price lock extension. We probably want to talk about that just while we're here.
Yeah. When you initially sign your contract, that's when you have that opportunity. So I think we give you up to 7 days after you sign your contract to buy from us basically an additional 90-day price lock, which would then take your price lock from 150 days to 240 days.
Right.
And it depends on what you're looking to do. If you've got a lot of custom changes, if you're building in Fairfax County or some of the counties that could potentially take, a long time to get permits,
right.
Then it's probably a good idea to make that investment.
Right.
I think it's an additional 2%.
It's well worth it
to buy that, but the price increases can be more than that. That's something that you'll need to weigh, and your sales consultant will help you with that and tell you, hey, I don't think we can get this done in 150 days based off of the changes you're making, based off of the county you're building in, or maybe it's you have some land issues that we need to work through, or title issues that we need to work through. So that is a good option for some of our customers. And that's something, that we offer that, again, it's a risk for us that,
Absolutely.
Typically ends up being a good value for you.
Yeah, we sell that actually quite a lot for those that have these complicated houses that want a lot of different things. And make sure you're asking your new home sales consultant about it. They will bring it up. They absolutely will. But I think it's something that you need to think about as you're watching this video and you're prepping to come in and visit with us.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to think about. So I don't want, as we're talking about this 150 and all the things that are involved, remember that there is something that you can purchase that's when you really consider it, it's a really good insurance policy against, especially in the environment that we're in now. Who knows? Prices have been volatile for the past 10 years, so it's not without risk, especially if you're at 150 days and you get it there.
Right.
But again, if you have a Matthews 2 with no changes, you're probably safe. If you have a Matthews 2 and you're doing 10, 20 different structural changes, likely it's not going to get to the 150 days.
We want everybody to be happy with the home they design. That's one of the things that we kind of take pride in, is that we allow pretty much any customization that you want. So we don't want to discourage anybody from doing that. We're trying to always add new optional layouts, new floor plans, new exterior elevations, and we're always in the process of doing that, so that we can offer things that may be there as a standard that people don't have to then make so many customizations.
We're working at that all the time.
Yeah.
But so we've gotten you to that point.
Right.
We've got your contract. You're pretty excited. You've made the changes that you want to make, and then this can feel like a little bit of time passes, right? You're going to be working on some other things. You'll be working with our pre-construction department at that time, working on health permit, working on really getting the house located exactly where we want. This is where we go ahead and get the topographical map. This is where we look at elevation. We talk about that in our construction conversations in foundations. This is the process, this is the point in the process rather, that we discover all of this.
Yeah, all of it's kind of happening, simultaneously.
That's right.
People in here, a lot of different people here are doing different things. Janet's ordering a title search.
Right.
Janet's working with your lender, to get your loan commitment. Appraisal is, well, we're not quite to appraisal yet.
Not yet.
Getting close to that. Deborah's going to be working on things here as well.
We're going to be talking about, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
We're going to be talking about, clearing your land.
Right.
We're going to be talking about wells and septics. We're going to be
Right.
talking about these conversations start to evolve at this place. They're going to be
Yes.
brought up even earlier on with your new home sales consultant. But what happens is, from there, it goes to the pre-construction department. They're involved, but they're not driving the boat.
Right.
So our pre-construction manager, Deborah, she drives the boat, and Evelyn, actually, for North Carolina. They drive the boat in helping get you to a place where, in what you think is a downtime between, like, I've made all my changes and now it's at the drafting department. While it's at the drafting department, we're trying to get a lot of this administration stuff done. So again, the more information that you have, the quicker that this can progress. So it usually takes, if we get a survey right away, if we know where the house wants to go, this is one of the biggest challenges that we have, I will say. Folks not exactly sure how they want their placement,
Right.
and that can stall the process. If you're just not sure, I think it's really important that you get with your new home consultant and say, I'm not 100%, I need you to come out here, request a site visit. One of us will come out and visit with you to help determine the best house location as you go through this process, because that indecisiveness can really stall things moving forward. So those types of decisions can be made with our help and our tutelage as well.
Yeah, that can cause a lot of problems. It can slow things down. It can cause problems. It can add more cost to our customer, because
Right.
if the house is staked and then it has to be restaked because you change your mind on the location, well, there's a cost involved in that. The surveyor has to go back out there. They have to pull those stakes up. They have to restake it. So it's really important to have a good idea of where you want your home. Talk to our new home consultant about that. You can talk to the surveyor about that. We can give you advice on, the best placement for the house based off of, anything from topography to views to, whatever it is that's important to you.
Right.
We can consult you on that.
And sometimes they're really challenging lots. Like, again, we've discussed in
Yeah.
the how to buy land episode, but this is where this happens, right? So if it's a really challenging lot, lots of different pitch or slope, you may not know. So this is an important step in the process, because once we get our sales plans completed, if we're not 100% sure where this is gonna sit, we'll progress the plans, but it's gonna kind of hold things up. So,
Yes.
this is where in that kind of 14 to 48 days in that zone, these are where these things are happening. So these decisions are being made, the health permit's being dealt with and applied for, so we know what kind of septic we're gonna do, because that can change. Typically when you get a perk test, you're gonna kind of already have an idea of what you're gonna have, and that happens much earlier on. So once we have a house location, we can perk.
Right.
That's the other big thing, right? So if you don't know where your house is gonna go, we cannot do a what they call a perk test, and an AOSC goes out there to evaluate the soil. So these things are all really, really important as you progress through the 150. And I think, pardon us if we're talking a little bit fast, we definitely know this stuff inside and out, but this is an important stage. This 14 to 48 days becomes very critical. So I guess it sounds like it's all critical, right?
There's a lot.
It's all critical.
It is all critical. There's so much that happens during that time. And, again, it goes back to this. I think this is like the most critical part of the whole schedule, because if we can't get close to hitting that 48 days, then the 150 days is just shot. There's no way we're going to make it. and things can really bog down. There could be bottlenecks all over the place at this point if we're not staying on top of it with you. And that means you have to do your part to help us, because we don't know where you want your house, right?
Right.
We don't, there's certain things that we can't do. We try to do as much as we can and, make it as easy as possible for all of our customers. But
absolutely,
we can't just assume everything. So
yeah, and we're going to be there for you.
Yeah.
We'll help you. We'll come out, like I said, we'll make site visits with you if it's that challenging and you really just don't know.
Yeah.
We'll help you to the best of our ability to help you make those decisions. But
absolutely, and Deven loves to do the site visits. So if you want a site visit, make sure you request Deven.
Make sure you request me, please. I do enjoy them, actually. So some of the things that you're going to see there, the VDOT, some that applies to some people. So some of this stuff don't get caught up in.
Yeah.
But that's the nuts and the bolts of day 14 to 48. Mm-hmm. Once we've already been given what we call the ready to draw. So during that 14 to 48 days, the plans are being completed, which is the fun part. So the plans are being done. There may be some questions back and forth, clarity. You may get some questions from your new home sales consultant saying, hey, they had a question about this or they had a question about that. And that's really what that might be going back and forth with. But all that to say is you get to that 48 days and we're earmarking those days to do the really fun stuff, which is go over your plans that have been drawn, mm-hmm. right? And then make all your selections.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the most exciting time, other than when we start your home and then when you move into the home at the end, right, and we close. But that one thing that's important about the plans and colors meeting, and this is something that I think is pretty unique to us too. We do allow you at that point to, if there's anything that you want to change, that's your opportunity to change it.
That's
so
right.
You'll go through those plans in great detail with the sales team. You'll go through every aspect of the home, every room, and you'll make your selections. And if there's anything you want to change, they'll redline the plans at that point. There's no late change fees to make changes at that point. And that it'll come back to us redline with those changes.
Right.
Your addendums will be updated. If there's any custom requests, that's when those will get submitted. And we want you to have that opportunity. So 100%. There's no penalty for that.
There's no penalty other than if the changes are extensive.
Yes.
And I want to make sure we're clear about this, because this is kind of murky water. We won't charge you a late change fee. We're going to allow those changes to happen. If you come to the plans and colors meeting, you've decided, I want to change my house. I don't think I like this house. I want to go to a different. We have it happen, mm-hmm. or we need to blow this out, add a fifth bed. The complexity of those changes can also affect and will affect the 150. If it's, I want to move my panel from here to here, or I'd like to add a hose bib, or maybe we can change my flooring around a little bit, whatever the case.
Right.
Those things won't hinder the schedule too much, but if they do get complicated, it can have a ramification. So we don't want to discourage it. We do advertise that we do it, but you should know that if it's extensive changes, mm-hmm. then at that point it can be challenging.
We encourage you to, that's why we say, think about everything up front. Try to think about everything when you're writing the contract.
Right.
Because at this point, it is going to set things back. No matter what it is, it's still going to slow things down, because
right.
it has to go back. It has to go back into drafting. It could change things. It could change things with the footprint of the home, which then changes, where the home's sitting, as how it relates to the topography of the lot. It can change.
It can change your loan.
It can change the loan.
It can have some effects. So it's not to say that we can't do it, and
right.
we will. You should know what that means when you're talking about that, though.
Yes.
Just because there is a downside to that. And typically what I see is when customers come in and they make extensive changes at this point, mm-hmm. You're usually right around 200 days.
Right, yeah, it slows things down considerably.
So just know that going in, because you want to try to get as much information up front as you can.
Yeah.
That's an advantage to talk about.
Right.
Because when you're going all the way back to the beginning with the new home sales consultant, you want to talk about everything. You want to have a list of your wants. Have a list of the things you really, really want. Mm-hmm. And then prioritize those backwards, most important. And then, maybe maybe the last 4 or 5 things aren't in the budget or aren't feasible. But my suggestion is kind of taking us all the way back to the top. And I apologize that we're bouncing around a little bit, but have that wish list in your hand of, I really want a big mudroom, or I really love an outdoor deck. The more stuff you bring to the new home sales consultant at that moment when you're writing your contract, the better off you're going to be, and hopefully avoid some of those pitfalls.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we have a little edit there. We lost one of the cameras went out, so we're not exactly sure where it cut off, but
clearly we're professionals.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to home building, we're experts. When it comes to recording podcasts, we're pretty far down on the novice level, or at least our production assistant back here, Tucker, she allowed the camera to power off. So it's not our fault.
Yeah, it only took us about 2 hours to set all this up.
Right.
So, but anyway, we were, I think where we left off, we were talking about the importance of talking to you all about custom changes.
That's right.
And really, how those can affect the whole journey. And, it's not that we want to discourage them,
right.
But we want you to understand what they can do.
Correct. So we were discussing about having changes in at the plans and colors that we allow you guys to have, changes, and we discussed that, and now we're kind of going to, these custom price requests late, right? Custom changes, late changes, and those can affect the schedule. If it's important to you, don't let that be dissuade you from not doing it. But
tell them how it works. Like, how does it work when somebody comes in and they want to make a change? Let's tell them how it works, who all is involved in that.
Well, really everyone's involved in a change, to be fair. Now, there are certain parts of the process that the changes are a little bit different. So we just talked about at the sales plan review, you have one last pass to go through and make sure any changes you want to do are basically without fee, right? Mm-hmm. After that, there can be a $2,500 fee or a $3,500 fee, depending on the complexity.
Timing and complexity.
Where
right?
we are, whether we're at the permit stage, whether we're, have it into the town. So those things will all be factored in. Now, it's not to say that we can't do it. So there'll be a fee for that, plus the cost of the change. And then there's just certain changes we can't make. But let's wait till we get to that place, because at the timing now between your plans and colors, you've made those changes. Let's just say it kept on schedule, and you get to ready to go to permit plans and you want to make a change. There's going to be a fee associated at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Not to say that we can't do it, but we absolutely can. That has to go through pre-construction to make sure that it didn't adjust the footprint. That's got to go back through drafting. That's got to go back through Janet in our loan department to make sure that can appraise for that amount and that your loan will cover that. Maybe you want to pay cash out of pocket for that change. There's a lot of, basically every department takes a look at it. It comes across my desk.
Right.
Everybody sees it. Purchasing sees it. Mm-hmm. So it touches a lot of hands to make that happen, because for lack of a better word, that ship has sailed.
Right.
So we can bring it on back in, but it makes it definitely a difficult process. If it's a simple change, hey, I would love to add a hose bib. I use that one all the time because we get that. Or I want to add an outlet. I want to add an outlet to my garage. Those things are pretty easy and will work with you. If it's not really affecting the process and the flow, we'll look at those case by case and say, hey, you know what? It's not a big deal. We'll get them on the permit set and we'll go from there. So we try to be as flexible in that as we can. If it's, I want to make my house 10 feet wider, then that can get challenging.
Yeah, big change. And even in the beginning, if it's not a late custom plan change, what we call a custom plan change, right? Even if it's at the beginning, before the sales plans are drawn, it's complicated and it takes a lot of effort on our part. So basically, the salesperson or the sales associate will submit that custom change through our software system.
Right.
It'll come in. It'll go to our purchasing department and go through a pre-approval process. So purchasing has to pre-approve that. So they have to look at it. They have to look at the floor plan. They have to make sure that it's actually going to work, that it's worded correctly, that everything's been thought through. And then, if they approve it, then it goes to someone else within the purchasing department
Right.
to actually price that.
Right.
It can also be rejected. And a lot of times they do get rejected because there's something maybe that wasn't thought through.
Right.
Maybe it won't work. Maybe we need more information. And in that case, it has to go back to sales. Sales has to get back with you as the customer, correct whatever needs to be corrected, and resubmit it.
And that puts the plans basically at that point on hold.
Right.
So if we have significant plan changes at this 48 to 61 days, the plan goes on hold. Until these things are rectified, nothing can be done at this point. Where in other phases of this process, we can do a lot of things simultaneously. At this point, we're ready to send this off to the town. We're ready to get your building permit applied for. This is where we are. We're ready to go. And if we have to make changes that are significant, it just puts it on the shelf till this is rectified. And depending on the complexity, to your point, this may take a week, it could take 2 weeks. It just depends.
Right.
Depends on the change. Again, if it's adding an outlet, that takes very little time and it's usually pretty quick.
Yeah, if it's in our system and we have a price for it, it's easy. It's simple. We can just add it to the plans. It doesn't, but if it's custom, if it gets approved as custom, then it has to go out to bid. We have to send it out to whoever touches that, right? So if it's plumbing or electrical or framing or roofing or whatever it is, we have to get a price on that. Then the price has to go back into the system. It goes back to sales. Sales has to contact you, get approval on it. So it touches a lot of people's hands. It takes a lot of time. We try to get them done in 7 days or less?
7 days or less. The biggest culprit on this one, on the CPRs, we call it CPR, custom price request, right? So going back to the beginning, those structural changes that we're making at the beginning, those are a custom price request. That gets done all the way up front. The custom price request that trips a lot of customers up is when you get to the sales plan review and you decide you want to change kitchens to a custom kitchen. That one is probably the biggest time suck that we have because you're getting that subcontractor involved, and depending upon the complexity of this kitchen change, you may have to go visit with them direct.
Right.
You may have to go take a meeting with our supplier and our contractor, and you may need to sit with them, and that can take weeks, literally, if it's extravagant. So if you want a really big custom kitchen, that stuff has got to be set up front. And we still go through the same process, but we have more time.
Right.
When you're getting to that sales plan time, that'll actually put the whole plan on hold as well.
Yeah, the kitchens can take a long time, and we offer several optional kitchen layouts.
Right.
Designer kitchen layouts. We have all kinds of options for the kitchen, so it's always more efficient to go that route.
That's right.
But we do a lot of custom kitchens, and as long as they're done up front, it doesn't really typically cause that much of a slowdown. But like Deven said, it's got to be, the sooner you let us know that, the sooner we can set you up with the actual cabinet company. You can go meet with them. You can design your kitchen, make selections, and it just makes the whole process much more efficient.
We offer a ton of standard upgrades that you don't have to go and do that. But once you start tweaking cabinets, it changes a lot of things. It changes wall dimensions. It changes door locations. It can change bathroom locations and layouts. It gets complicated, so we want to try to avoid those as much as possible late.
Right.
It's better that you know that now, that we're telling you, that you can echo that to your sales consultant, say, I want a custom kitchen, I want a total layout that's mine and nobody else has it. Fine, great, we'd love for you to do it. You just got to get that information early, and we'll set those meetings up really, really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's, the custom price request at that 48 to 61 days really does complicate things, but it's not to say that we won't do it.
Yeah, no.
You just got to know what the ramifications are and all these things.
Yeah, we want everybody to be happy, and that's why we're doing these. We just want to communicate. We want to let you guys know this because we have so many people that say, "Oh, I wish I knew that up front."
That's right.
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew it was going to take that much time. I wish I knew it was going to cost me more money.
The other one that's a big one is window changes. Window changes can change the plan entirely. There's some codes that restrict and govern how much glass we can have in a wall without different supports, different wall bracing. Those types of things can really hurt the process of the house because we may have to go all the way back for that to make sure that goes right into the hands of a drafter. Those are types of things that I would try to avoid as well. Lots of window changes. Everything else, we can do, but the window changes late and the kitchen changes late can be really time consuming.
Yeah.
Or any big additions.
So the sooner the better on that stuff.
So from there, we go into all things good. Everything goes into the permit plan queue. We're ready to go. We're buttoning up. Can you scroll so we can see the rest of that? We're buttoning up like health permits. We're buttoning up well and septic estimates and agreements. And at this point, it's really starting to take traction. It's really starting to go, and you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've done all your work that you need to do in regard to the plan selection and all the color selections, and you've got your house right where you want it. When we go to getting ready to submit for a permit plan, a lot of the heavy lifting is done except for one part, and that's going to be discussing with our pre-construction manager the clearing, because this becomes the next obstacle for customers. Once it goes into the town, there's not much any of us can do. It's into the county. Some jurisdictions are fast, some jurisdictions are slow. Some take 3 months, some take 3 days. It just depends. But in this time, what customers need to worry about is that health permit, making sure that the well and septic estimates are ready to go and that we've got the contractors ready to go. And we'll have a whole other podcast on wells and septics and lot clearing and all that stuff.
We're gonna help you through all of that. I mean, the well and septic estimates, we're getting those for you. We're gonna give you those. We have those contacts. We know who's reliable, who has good pricing, who's not going to take forever to go out there and do the work. So we're going to help with that on the well and septic estimates. Deborah's she's gonna get the health permit applied for here. So we have somebody here that handles all of that. Also during that time, once the sales plans come back, Janet's gonna order your appraisal.
That's right.
So all this stuff is happening simultaneously. And you may hear a little bit about it, but it's really kind of behind the scenes, and our team here is really taking care of all that stuff for
Almost all that. The only thing that starts to come up here with you, the customer, is going to be your access road, getting that scheduled, because you're already applied for your permit.
Right.
So you're expecting that, and when your permit comes out, some counties will let you clear without a permit. Some make you have the permit.
Yes.
It just depends on the jurisdiction. Really?
Right.
Some of them are very loose and just say, yeah, go ahead. Some don't. And we'll be able to tell you where those are, wherever you're building. But this is when we start talking about that, because now what we want to do is get all that site work ready to go, because once the building permit comes out, the fun stuff happens, right? Building permit comes out, you're going to get a call from Deborah, you're going to call from your sales consultant, and they're going to schedule you a pre-construction meeting. And when you go have that pre-construction meeting, that's kind of like the final pass of making sure those plans are right and making sure you got everything in it you wanted. You're gonna meet, who are they gonna meet? They're gonna meet
the pre-construction meeting. Your new home consultant's gonna be there.
The sales associate should be there.
Sales associate will be there.
The designer might be there.
The design consultant. And depending on which office, each office is maybe set up a little differently when you visit.
Superintendent.
Right, the construction. That's really probably the first time you'll meet your construction supervisor.
Right.
Who's going to build your home.
That's right.
He's going to manage the home. Oversee the quality control on the home. And he's going to go over the plans with you at that point.
He becomes your major point of contact throughout the process.
Yeah.
That pre-construction meeting is intended to not be rushed. You want to take your time. You want to go through it. There's a bunch of stuff they're going to go through with you, checklists. They're going to go through the plans. He's going to discuss his process with you. He's going to let you know how to contact him. It's going to be a lot of information, but this should be like the exciting thing. Like, hey, we're ready to go.
Right.
And that meeting is kind of like the end of that 150 process, and you're kind of thrust into the new schedule, right?
Right. Yeah. All right. So we're back again. We had another technical issue.
Clearly,
and we lost another camera. We have no idea. This has never happened before, but
we apologize. We're learning through this process. So, and we don't. This is supposed to be kind of unedited, which is what you're getting. But where were we?
Yeah, this is like the fourth one we've done, and it hasn't happened yet.
No,
so
this is
I don't
weird.
know what's going on today, but Deven has it like 50 degrees in here, so maybe it's the cold.
You know, with the lights and stuff, it is cold, but I don't know. They say the cameras are overheating. I don't know how that's possible.
All right, well, anyway, I wanted to take a step back real quick because we talked about so much. There's so much going on between that, that 48 to 61 days and then leading up to the permit being applied and
Right.
the pre-construction meeting. But, once we get the permit set drawn, everything goes to the county for permitting. Again, we handle all this for you, right? But
Right.
we're submitting all the drawings, like very detailed drawings. We're submitting structurals of, your floor systems, your roof system.
Foundation plans. We're submitting all the structural components to
Right.
the house. So all that detail goes there.
Plus all the stuff that we were working on up to that point with the stakeout, right?
Yep.
So we have to provide them with that layout
Survey.
of your lot. Where's your house located? Where's your driveway located?
Drain field location.
Right, all that stuff. So that when that goes into the county, the thing that I really wanted to mention here was that, depending on the county, sometimes we can get those permits in a day.
Yep.
Sometimes maybe it might be 3 months. It really all depends on the county.
Right.
So that's something that's outside of our control. I think we try to do the best we can to make sure that there's no, we don't omit anything from that application. But just something for you all to know is that depending on where you're located, the permit can come out in a day, it can come out in 3 months, but typically it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks.
Right. That's the average. 3 weeks is the average right now.
Right.
Which is why we want to get this 96 days. That's important.
Right.
Because when you're talking about 150 days and it's you're 3 months in Loudon or something like that, you're pressing it.
Oh yeah.
So most of the new home sales consultants will, if you're building in those areas, they'll already talk to you about that extension.
Right.
Because some of the counties just make it very difficult to get anything turned around quickly. They'll know that county and they'll suggest that. That's why we brought it up earlier. There's just some counties that you can't do it in 150
Right.
days. But they'll tell you that going into it, right?
Yeah. So then once we get the permit, like that's where where we were before we had a little glitch there.
Second time.
We're going to schedule a pre-construction meeting,
Right.
which that's kind of the whole beginning of transitioning you from
Right.
from sales and pre-construction over to the construction department.
Now so during this 150-day process, the new home sales consultant, the associate salesperson, everyone on our team is gonna direct you back to the 150-day schedule. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get a copy of it. You're gonna get weekly calls, if not bi-weekly calls. I mean, you're gonna get during this phase, you're gonna get contacted all the time by a lot of different people in our office, right?
Right.
The sales folks will contact you every week. You're gonna hear from the design consultant. You're gonna hear from everybody. And they're gonna keep you on task. At least that's our goal is constant communication, constant keeping you guys in the loop of what's going on. Once you get to your pre-construction meeting and now you've excavated, the construction supervisor will contact you each week. He's going to let you know the schedule. He's going to let you know where we are. He's going to go over that in detail with you every single week. We make sure internally that is happening and that there's a good relationship between the construction manager and the customer. It's very important for us to know that you're being tended to well. You're going to see dirt move. You're going to see foundations go in. You're going to see framing go up. You're going to see all the phases of construction.
Right.
And the next real big meeting is going to be your pre-drywall meeting. Mm-hmm. So at the pre-drywall meeting, you're going to meet with the supervisor. The construction manager will meet with you, make sure all the things that you added in your plan are installed correctly. Make sure he's keeping you aware of the schedule. He's going to be talking to you. Even before that, he really should start talking to you about final grades, seed and straw, things that it takes to get closed. Mm-hmm. So, we'll help you with the management, like Scott alluded to. We're going to help you with the management of your well, your septic, your power. We're going to even help you with that. You're going to still have to take some accountability on the power, but we'll guide you through that. You'll hear from one of our pre-construction people who help keep you in the loop on the power issue. A lot of customers tend to do the final grade seed and straw themselves. Your construction manager should start talking to you about that very early on. What's your plan? How are you going to do this? What are you planning on doing? Because that can be the next trip and fall.
Right.
Not anymore for the 150, but certainly for you to get closed. And that is one of our biggest challenges, is people not prepared for the final grade seed and straw.
Yeah, I think
it's a challenge.
It can sneak up on you. I mean, we're building a home in about 120 days.
Yep.
And that can go by quickly, especially when you've gone through, 150 days in pre-construction.
Right.
And then, your construction can be considerably less than your pre-construction, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
So, it can sneak up, and, we really try to push our construction supervisors to stay in constant contact with you, keep you updated on the schedule of your home, let you know when you're going to close. You're going to be getting communication from Janet. You're going to be getting communication from the closing agent. You're going to be getting communication from the lender.
Right.
So you're going to know when that closing date is projected.
Right.
It can change a little bit here and there depending on what's going on. Really knowing where we are in the process and making sure that you're prepared to do what you need to do as far as the final grade, the seed, the straw.
Right.
That stuff, you definitely need to be on top of that, because it can delay your closing.
Your supervisor will let you know often. You need to start thinking about this, especially the bigger the clearing is. Just so you guys know, everything that's disturbed has to be treated. It has to be graded, seed, and straw. Erosion control has to happen. Soil stability has to be installed. And they're not going to bend on that. So if you think you're going to just do kind of like a 10-foot ribbon around your house, they're going to make you do the entire lot. So don't get confused by that. You go to the end, you go to your closing, you're going to do a walkthrough with your construction manager, your salesperson. If he or she can make it, they'll make it there. They're going to go through how everything operates. They're going to show you how your furnace operates, how your plumbing operates. They're going to go through what's warranty and what's not warranty. They're going to discuss with you the warranty booklet and how you submit a claim and how that process goes. And you're going to get a lot of information at that walkthrough. Take your time with it on the information side. Our supers are really good about getting their pre-settlement orientation, is what we call it, signed off before you close. We really strive for that, so that there's no anxiety about the closing at all.
A lot of people get stressed about that. Like, is my punch list going to be done, right? Like, how long is it going to take for you to do my punch list? And we do try to do that. We try to do that before you even move in. It doesn't always happen. Maybe there's an item or two. I
think our average in 2024 was like 3 days.
3 days
after the walkthrough. So
that's great.
It's been much improved. And then you're not done with this yet. You get your year warranty. There's a lot of videos and details on that. We'll have another podcast on just the warranty and how just the warranty works. But that's another year. You get a 90-day period and an 11-month period. And so you're with us for 2 years.
Yeah. You're
with us for 2 years, and we're excited about having you with us for 2 years, and it'll go by fast. And we hope that you've enjoyed your experience in that endeavor. So
yeah, it's a long journey together, but it's fun, it's exciting.
It is.
It's challenging at times, and it's rewarding at times. So there's like we said when we started the podcast, this is a little bit of a typical customer journey. There's a lot of you that may have a different journey with us.
Absolutely. I mean, and they're very unique. Everybody's very unique. This is what we try to pigeonhole everybody into, but everybody varies a little bit. And some move faster and some move slower, and we get it all in between. But this is a typical journey. The length of time can change, but the processes are the same. We take feedback and we listen, and we care. We want to make it a special thing for you. We want to create those special memories with you, so that you have these wonderful reunions at your home, and you're able to raise your family or empty nest or whatever it is you've got going on. We want that to be a special place for you to be able to do that. And it's very, very important to us, and we take it definitely personally. We want you guys to enjoy that. It's definitely a mission statement of ours. We listen, we care, we deliver. It's beyond that, right? I mean, we really value everybody, and we really want you guys to know that. We really appreciate everybody, and we take everything very seriously.
Yeah, I think, because we do spend so much time with you, you become a part of our family, and,
Absolutely.
hopefully we become a part of yours. We're going to be together for a long time. You're going to meet a lot of people here.
Yeah, you meet a lot of people.
You're going to go through some ups and downs along the way, but, it's fun and rewarding, and, we appreciate everybody placing their trust in us, because I think I think it's such a big thing. Like, it's such a big purchase, the biggest purchase you'll ever have. And it's the fact that people are placing their trust in us to build this, this home that they're going to live in and make memories in, and, go through this journey with us.
Right.
This 2-year journey, really, from like contract signing to the end of the warranty period. It can be 2 years. It's a long time, and we love it.
We do. And the journey continues, right? You get to live there, and for you, the journey, that's just the start of your journey in life, but in that new home. But, we're grateful for you guys letting us be a part of it, for sure. And, during this podcast, we've had some technical glitches. Sorry about that. But as always, we want you guys to take notes. Write down stuff that we may have omitted, or questions that you have. We'll have a follow-up podcast where we're going to talk about, you have Q&A. We'll answer all of your questions, probably pod 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. We're going to release these about every month for the foreseeable future and try to cover every aspect. We'll introduce you to certain people. You're going to get to meet more than just us. Give us your feedback. Send us your questions. Let us know what we could do better. Hopefully you like the new chairs, and we're not swiveling all over the place. I did lower my mic so I'm not so loud. So we're making some adjustments as we go, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this one was a little bit overwhelming. We were nervous about it, like we said. I know we kind of jumped all over the place, but I think we covered most of it for the most part. So let us know what you think, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Have a great day.